up just out of curiosity to see really what happened in that game. But yeah, B-Kid playing that Soul Stealer. I mean, he finished 0-1-0, I think.
45-minute game, 0-1-0 with 300 creep kills.
Yeah, he had a good amount of farm, but wasn't really too involved when it came to team fight. So, but obviously, kind of having a little bit of fun there. But Fnatic did win that series, and thankfully for them, because did get them here, or helped get them here to the top 4, of course. So, but here we are. Looks like game 1 has started. So we are now at the banning phase for these two teams with Trademark eSports and Fnatic Raidcall. Again, a best of 3. You think matchups nowadays in Heroes of Newerth, competitive Heroes of Newerth, these two teams have to come to your mind as probably being one of the better matchups you could possibly have.
Absolutely. Trademark eSports, of course, qualifying from the North American region. Pretty clearly, I think, the best team in North America, and in a lot of people's minds, probably a favorite to take this entire tournament. Fnatic Raidcall also, I mean, I'm so glad they were able to make it to the top 8. We saw they were struggling a little bit earlier on in the group phase, and they kicked it into high gear, as we mentioned earlier, and they're looking good. So certainly going to give TDM a run for their money. Yeah,
this has to be a great series. I mean, I was actually we got the chance to interview Bobo, of course, from TT Esports after they won that final series against TDM to get them the first place spot. By the way, for those that aren't aware just yet of how this happened, because the teams, of course, played in the group stage, best of 1 against every other team, and the top 4 were moving on. It just so happened our final match of the group stages happened to be TDM versus TT Esports, and the winner of that was going to decide who they would play in the first round, because there would be a 3-way tie with 2nd through 4th.
Yeah.
So TT Esports, of course, they defeated TDM, and they chose to play against blackfade.org as a result of that. But I did get to ask Bobo what he thought about this series and how he thought it would play out. He felt pretty good for Fnatic, but he said he would be very surprised if it doesn't go 3 games, and especially being a long 3rd game even. So he expects a very, very close series here, as do I.
Yeah, I mean, last night, again, to reference that game where we saw these two teams face off, I think there was a lot of respect in that game. Around the 30-minute mark, I think the hero score was 3-4. Both teams just really afraid to overcommit, respecting each other's space on the map, and sort of farming to their heart's content. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the first game go that way, perhaps. Maybe the second game pick up the pace a little bit. But time will tell. The banning phase is actually now complete, and 1 or 2 interesting bans in here.
Yeah, that there are. Let's go over them right now. We got Ophelia, Polywog Priest, Parasite, Armadon, Behemoth, Pebbles, Tundra, and Moraxis. So, of course, a couple of the interesting ones. Behemoth, really one that stands out. I'm guessing that was banned by TDM with the first ban, actually. Jeez. Really making a point that they did not want to have to play against Hani's Behemoth. He has been playing a fantastic Behemoth recently, and we're even seeing some respect as a result of that. So,
absolutely.
Then you got Parasite. He hasn't been banned too often throughout this tournament, but still, I can see why. But
yeah, definitely. Seeing Silhouette still on the board, picked up by TDM right away. No surprise there. We'll probably see, Tralfmador, Moonmeander, or even B-Kid possibly playing that. Silhouette is, we did get to see an interview with Tralfmador earlier on in the event talking about how much they like Silhouette and how they have a very versatile team. So I think they can fit Silhouette in very, very easily. The one thing that stands out to me as well is seeing Nymphora actually not banned. Almost every game, maybe 80% or something, we've seen her banned, almost first banned, more so than not. So I'll be curious to see if Nymphora actually gets picked up here in this match.
Yeah, I was actually just noticing that too. I saw them right-clicking a couple of heroes, and so sure enough, one of them was Nymphora. Then it's funny because Nymphora has been banned all throughout this tournament. Yeah, here we are in the semifinals with Fnatic versus TDM. We've already gone 5 picks into the picking stage and still no Nymphora. So it really is interesting to see the mindset that certain teams have, certain captains have when it comes to specific heroes. So this seems like it's a case of neither team really that interested. It's not obviously high priority as we see with the picks so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if we still see her, but the fact that she hasn't been picked up yet still is pretty interesting. But
absolutely. And we see the next 2 picks coming for TDM, Bubbles and Hammerstorm. So Hammerstorm making quite the appearance at DreamHack this year. He's been in quite a few games. I'm quite confident he'll end up in the hands of B-Kid here.
Yeah, he's been having some dominating Hammerstorm performances. I believe at least a couple. One we did get a cover and did do very, very well. We talked about that. I leveled up the Mighty Swing early on. And not too many do that. And we were talking to Z Freakin' Sender actually when we were grabbing some food in between the breaks there. And I remember you actually brought up the point, you're curious, what they thought about Hammerstorm and why B-Kid decided to level up the Mighty Swing. And the reasoning basically was, especially in that game, he went the Alchemist Bones first, remember. He was focusing a lot on farm that game, trying to keep up in farm, where Slicks, on the other hand, he just had literally free farm himself anyway, so might as well get the stats in that case. So that's really, you know, kind of what they gave, at least the reasoning.
Definitely right. And it's one of the great things about having the teams right here just to hop and to skip away. If I have a question, I can be like, hey, Z-Freak, what do you think about Hammerstorm?
Yeah.
What do you think about Mighty Swing? It's quite the cool experience. But more picks coming along here. Fnatic with their second round of picks going to go with a Witch Slayer Dark Lady. So Era going to have a melee agility hard carry, and I think that's really where he shines.
Yeah, Era is he's averaging over 500 gold per minute, I believe, throughout this whole tournament. One of a couple players to be doing so. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, of course, him end up playing Dark Lady and doing very, very well on him. He just seems to be, he does so well always with that hero. Obviously, Mage Bane on the board as well, but they do choose to go the Dark Lady pickup instead of the Mage Bane, so very interesting noting there. But Dark Lady, again, we have been seeing a lot more of her, not only from Era, but just on other teams as well on the competitive scene here.
Exactly.
When it comes down to it. So, final two picks, though, coming out for you for TDM. They did start off with Silhouette. They followed up with Bubbles and Hammerstorm, as we're talking about. Still Nymphora on the board. So, and, you know, I'm looking at this Legion team. It seems like Nymphora could be a valuable addition to them. Wouldn't be too surprised, but you know, maybe not in the end. They are right-clicking that Slither right there. And there goes the Nymphora. 2 seconds left. There we go. All right, it is going to be Nymphora, sure enough. Wow. And Slither, though, to finish off here. So
yeah, and we've talked about Slither quite a bit, somewhat recently. He's a pick that comes in every so often, a little bit of a wild card. He can certainly put out a lot of magic damage, all that dot damage. The big problem, of course, is that laning phase. It's very easy to lock him down if you have a very aggressive gank-oriented lineup. So that is sort of the drawback to Slither.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And again, he's not about burst damage either. So obviously, if you're looking to build a lineup around that, then he's not necessarily the most go-to hero for it. But he will be very good for your team fighting presence because although it won't kill him right off the bat, maybe he gets that ultimate off and spreads around that toxicity. It can be very helpful in those team fights. So Jeremiah going to be the final pick here from Fnatic Recall, though. And this is interesting because I see that and then the Dark Lady pickup. Yeah. I'm thinking back to DreamHack Winter, where actually formerly known as Fnatic Array, when they played against Fnatic MSI then, so 2 different team names. But anyways, when they played Fnatic Array, they actually ran the Jeremiah Dark Lady combination, and it dominated, to say the least.
It can be deadly. I know that's one of the things we've talked about Jeremiah a lot, and he's really not getting banned, really not even picked that much anymore, partially because of that Electrician is generally on the board, and actually picked up quite a bit as well, who serves as a great counter to Jeremiah, as we're all pretty well aware by now, I think. It's a pretty straightforward counter, but seeing Jeremiah as the 10th pick makes a lot of sense here, and I think, you know, you might be able to argue that TDM should have seen that coming maybe a little bit, maybe as a possibility. Perhaps they did, but kind of unfortunate that they allowed TDM, or pardon me, Fnatic to pick up that combo that can be so scary. Yeah,
it definitely is, and of course the thing with Jeremiah, like you said, he's kind of that niche hero, especially, you know, if we are going to see him, usually it would be later on in that drafting stage because there can be several amount of counters on the board that you can pick up against him. Now, I will say our Legion team, you know, they do have a couple of no Fireblade candidates, so, you know, not the worst thing in the world. Of course, that starts with Silhouette, and then you even got Slither. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a no Fireblade on him if they find it necessary going up against this Jeremiah. But again, that's if they find it necessary. If they happen to get off to a great start and don't need it, then by all means. But if the Protective Charm is proving to be an issue, which on that note, remember in the community patch, he did get a nerf to his Protective Charm, of course, raising the cooldown from 20 seconds to 24 seconds. So it's now 8-second downtime in between your Protective Charms, which pretty big deal when you think about it, and adds up. So
absolutely, and possibly that influencing some of the lack of Jeremiah appearance throughout the recent days of Heroes of North competitive action. And you know, you mentioned Dark Lady over Mage Bane as they were both on the board, and I think one huge advantage that Dark Lady has is she's really hard to shut down as far as farming in the early phases because of that Taint Soul. We've seen that so many times where Era just sits back, uses that very low mana cost ability to last hit creep. So even if he's not up there meleeing the creeps to his last hits, he's still able to farm.
Yeah, that Taint Soul, very, very powerful ability with that W, of course, on Dark Lady. So we'll see where Era ends up going. But we have seen that case of even a 1 versus 2 lane where he still manages to get some pretty damn good farm simply because of that ability. But going back to this Jeremiah Dark Lady combination, especially what they did, it worked out very well. What we do see from time to time is you get a Null Stone or Dark Lady, you have Jeremiah just buffer with the Protective Charm, and you know, good luck stopping her. She just goes balls to the wall and becomes a pretty crazy damage target that you just really can't stop. So I am curious to see if that's the route Fnatic chooses to go here, or instead if they go the Rune Cleaver route and maybe even that Shrunken Head after that with the Dark Lady. So depending on, you know, how confident they feel, you know, preference really when it's all said and done. But
yeah, what's also interesting is, I mean, we look at Dark Lady and think, yes, Fnatic's going to have this huge carry advantage if the game goes on, all that kind of stuff. But we've been seeing carry Hammerstorm so much in this event, and I'm quite confident we'll see B-Kid do it here. So seeing a carry Hammerstorm and Silhouette on the same team, TDM's actually going to be able to compete with that Dark Lady in the later phases of the game. So that could be interesting as well, of course, pending their early farms.
Yeah, so we will see how that plays out. But as far as our Legion team now, focusing on them a little bit more. Yeah, Slither. Slither, seeing him again. Oh, there you go. We got some fans out there making some signs.
Got our DreamHack Summer.
Some Heroes of New Earth.
Yeah. Official. I see that Breaky CPK sign there. Breaky CP sign.
Shout out to that guy down there.
That guy.
That guy, whoever you are, you're awesome. All right, looks like we are ready to go. Coming back into the game here. So here we go, finally. Game 1 getting started here between Trademark eSports and Fnatic Raid Call. Here in this best out of 3. Again, to reiterate, $60,000 prize pool is on the line here for these 4 teams. Now, all these 4 teams have actually gotten, they are going to be earning a piece of that prize pool. However, you know, it's a big, big difference between first and second even, and then all the way down, of course, to 4th place. So still a lot of money to be given around.
I believe first place is $35,000. So that's more than half of the total amount for first place. So as you said, a pretty big discrepancy. These teams definitely gunning for first. One thing that's interesting here is this laning phase is starting. Of course, TDM working on this tri-lane, Silhouette, Slither, and Nymphora in the bottom. But this carry Hammerstorm not going Hatchet first. He's going to pick up a Stout Shield or Iron Buckler, pardon me, and move towards the mid. So we're going to see a solo mid Hammerstorm.
Yeah, that is something. Yeah, I don't know if I can recall. I don't think B-Kid ran that. He definitely played the silent from what I believe. So apparently Fnatic having some all-around computer issues. So that they just frankly gave up. No, doubt that's the case. So they'll be back, I'm sure. But you're right. Hammerstorm is currently heading towards that middle lane here with that Iron Buckler. Who he's going to be matched up against, I do find curious. I'm looking at the Hellborn team now, and the more I think about it, actually, you know, we're going to see a Witch Slayer solo. It didn't even hit me until now. Of course, Notel once again going to be playing that Witch Slayer in a solo role. You got, of course, your Dark Lady and probably going to be Glacius lane. They may run a tri-lane, actually, to have a solo Jeraziah with the Luna with the Dark Lady and Glacius lane. So, but they're all 5 hitting bottom right now.
Yeah, definitely. So probably going to be going for that fast Bloodlust and fan out from there. But you're right, seeing a solo Witch Slayer should be interesting, especially in the hands of Notail. You know, seeing how he's played Polywog Priest, you can sort of apply a similar play style where if you get some of that early momentum, hit level 6 very quickly, you know, Witch Slayer certainly has some burst potential if he keeps up in those levels. So it'll be interesting to see if Notail picks up those early levels, picks up some early farm, and seeing what he does with it. I mean, a fast portal key on Witch Slayer certainly fits into Notail's play style.
It does, yeah. That's definitely him. I mean, that and a post-haste even, if he can get it as soon as possible, he'll gladly accept that. So, all right, resumes. Hopefully going to be coming up soon here, as it looks like both teams are now ready to go. By the way, Dark Lady going that Iron Shield first, actually. And I was going to say, there's no way he has enough money for all that, but you notice he gets the Iron Shield and a Minor Totem, and then he actually has a support give him trees and a health potion in his inventory to use. So again, that's just a true case of true support there. Jeraziah went boots first as well. Very interesting stuff going on here when it comes to item choices from Fnatic Raid Call. So that makes me believe that Jeraziah is going to maybe play a suicide lane solo. That's right, he got the boots, but very interesting start. But that 5-man gank, maybe running to the 3-man team down here, Silhouette, Nymphora, and Slither actually. I don't know. That looks like they're actually going to cut up. So we're not going to see a level 1 Conqueror, are we? That'd be ridiculous. No, there's no way. Okay, yeah. They don't have a Conqueror team.
Yeah, I was going to say, Boots first is generally not a Conqueror level 1 build.
No.
But unfortunately, they did walk right by that ward placed by Sender, so not going to be able to do much here as far as early Bloodlust is concerned. They're going to fan out a little bit. I'm still sort of curious how these lanes are going to settle down. Like you said, imagine this solo Jeraziah, Glacius, Dark Lady, and down here in the bottom, going to be Witch Slayer, Aluna. So I guess not a solo Witch Slayer.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this, honestly. It's not what I expected whatsoever, but sure enough, yeah, the Luna Witch Slayer at the bottom lane. Now, it will be a 2 versus 2 matchup. So it looks like Slither actually went. Oh, no, Slither is still down there. So Slither's going to be playing a babysit. We're going to have a lot of just weird things going on here in this laning phase. So a Slither babysit for a Silhouette. Slither's not necessarily your usual babysit hero. You know, his range isn't, he's a 500 range, so it's not too bad, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he's usually in the babysit role, but they decided to go with him. babysitting that Silhouette at the bottom lane, and N4 is actually in the middle lane going up against the Dark Lady Glacius combination. So.
Yeah, an N4 Hammerstorm in the mid is a very powerful lane combo. You know, Hammerstorm, obviously a strength hero, really low mana pool, especially early on. He can only throw one stun, and having N4 with him is definitely going to be very, very powerful. And they may be able to pick on this Glacius a little bit, and if they can do that, of course, that will slow down Era's farm quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do to note down here in the bottom lane, Slither actually opting for the poison spray first instead of going level 1 toxicity. So it looks like they are all geared up at least to pick up some early kills.
Yeah, possible early kill coming out, no doubt. If he happens to get in range to land that poison spray on one of these two heroes. At the same time, I don't see Silhouette as being. As the levels add up, sure, but early on, I don't really see that being the case. I think that may have been for when N4 was down here, especially then that would have made more sense. But yeah, so has it anyways. Obviously, would be getting at level 2 nonetheless, but we're just going to be reverse order in that sense. But I don't think a Bloodlust kill really would be coming out there at the bottom lane, but unless Witch Slayer or Luna just get completely out of position, which of course is very possible, but
well, keep in mind though, both Luna and Witch Slayer heroes without escape mechanisms other than their stun, so if they do get caught with a slow, it's very possible Silhouette may be able to chase them down. We'll see though. Hopefully we can actually get into this game, Breaky.
Yeah, so we're on our third pause now?
Yeah,
third time's a charm, they say, so
yeah, there you go.
Hopefully
seems there's some sort of
ever technical issues. Again, this is kind of an unfortunate thing with not being down there next to the players or
we don't really know
them,
what's going on with the issue is.
I'm sure it'd be obvious, if we were down, we could just quickly peek over and see, oh, they're doing this. But
one good thing, though, about this being a best of 3 is there isn't any prep time in between. So all that downtime we have as the players are setting up their keyboards and other computers won't happen here. These teams will already be set up for the second and possibly third game as well.
Very true, yeah. So hopefully that does make things go a little bit smoother going to the second and possible third game. But as you saw right there, Nova making the point that whoever was on his computer last changing a lot of bindings for themselves. But again, that's just part of the LAN experience at these tournaments. Yeah, it's something you have to deal with. But hopefully things are good to go now, and that doesn't continue to be an issue. So the lanes are playing out here. The last one that we really haven't talked about just yet is Bubbles against this Jeremiah. And of course, Jeremiah, especially with getting those boots, I would find it hard to believe he's not at least going to get one level in that Righteous Aura early on. And to look to take advantage of that by just running up to Bubbles and just heavily harassing him, knowing that he really can't get away unless he shell surfs. So going to be interesting to see if Hani takes big advantage of those boots. I mean, why wouldn't you? He did get them after all. It's his first item. Dark Lady, though, roaming up top now. So we're going to see a little bit of a movement here from our Hellborn team. Not a fan of being in that middle lane against the Glacius Hammerstorm matchup. So Dark Lady going to look to get some free farm at the top side.
And I think that makes perfect sense. That mid lane we mentioned, or I mentioned them picking on Glacius, but they can even pick on Dark Lady with that double stun and sort of unlimited mana. It can be very, very difficult. In the bottom lane, though, Witch Slayer in big trouble. He's going to go down. Moon Meander going to be the one to pick up the Bloodlust, and he's going to take out No Tail on that Witch Slayer.
Yeah, you see right there, the poison spray lands, the toxicity auto attacks coming out, the relentless salver from Silhouette. I mean, that is a good amount of damage coming out from this combination, so I apologize. I mean, it wasn't really expecting it to be happening, but that slow is very powerful, and sure enough damage to get the kill. So Witch Slayer, found himself in a bad spot, and now No Tail, his GPM dropping quite a bit, obviously only 2.5 minutes in, but struggling quite early on here. Silhouette, on the other hand, 4-2 creep score. So really not taking off by any means himself. It seems like it's a back and forth deny and kill battle on these creeps. So not necessarily the worst thing there, but still the kill for Silhouette's obviously helping pretty big time. Jeremiah, though, has adjusted now to the middle lane and is currently going to 1 versus 2. Taking a stun there from Hammerstorm. A lot of damage coming out, but will be fun at the end. But you see Hammerstorm getting mana back from the Grace of the Nymph. So expecting to really abuse the fact that he has her with him and will use that hammer a lot more frequently.
Exactly, and that's what makes this lane combo in the mid so powerful, and part of the reason why we've seen him for it banned so much, because you can set up lanes like this that are just so difficult to deal with. Jeremiah is dealing with it all right, but once he runs out of mana potions, it's going to become much more difficult. Of course, he's really not farming much at all, sitting 5-1, so just doing what he can in the mid lane, soaking up some of that valuable experience. Yeah,
we have a side lane bottle picked up here by Bubbles in the meantime at the top lane as well. So taking use of that against that Dark Lady now, as it happens to be. Of course, Glacius being nearby, doing some stacking there, with some pulling, I believe, or at least attempting to, or was down here for the Dark Lady teammate. But so getting some regen and can control a top rune if need be. We got that 4-minute rune coming up, so we'll see. In fact, N4 are going to head up here and protect it, it looks like, before anyone else can. So But we see Bubbles getting jumped on. The Dark Blades and charging strikes, and Bubbles a little bit of trouble. Should be fine. It looks like the freeze comes out. Oh, Dark Lady turned around. Wasn't expecting a freeze.
Wow.
Very easily could have been a kill right there if she decided to stick in. Jeremiah in the meantime takes a hammer stun, but really Hammerstorm wasn't really expecting much to come out of that. But yeah, missed opportunity big time there for Dark Lady.
Absolutely, that was a free kill onto Bubbles, and obviously some sort of miscommunication as he backed up right as Nova went in. So very unfortunate to see Fnatic missing out that kill. And Era could certainly use it. His farm has been steadily increasing though, kind of neck and neck with Silhouette, both of them just below 300 GPM. So that would have been a nice little pick-me-up to push him over the edge and really start taking over this game in the way of farm. But I'm sure there will be other opportunities in the future.
Like right here? No,
yep.
Never mind.
Oh, almost.
They go, but Bubbles just kind of walks away as if nothing happened because he's just the boss. Jeremiah in the meantime trying to turn around something in the middle lane. Throws out that inner light, and all of a sudden, not much more is happening. So that's a big thing about Jeremiah, of course. He seemed like, oh, he's just about dead, go for the kill, and all of a sudden the inner lights not only heals himself, but returns damage onto you, and before you know, you're the one dying. So you do got to be careful about that, but still, the harassment is definitely heavy on Hani here. To begin this game, and currently only sitting at 130 gold per minute. Again, not too surprising with this lane setup, but he does have Witch Slayer support now, so Hellborn team, being cautious about this Hammerstorm. They know what Beacon has done in the past, at least this tournament, and as we see Hammerstorm right there next to a creep, and that's another thing you got to watch out for with Jeremiah in your lane.
Yeah.
Not to stay too close to those creeps, especially if you're low on life.
Exactly right, and this goes back to the point we were talking about in the picking phase where there's two potential hard carries on this Legion side, and they have to make that executive decision of who to shut down, which they're going to take a stun here, but not going to be enough damage to secure a kill. On the top, Glacius just taken a little bit of harassment, no kills on either side, but yeah, like you said, they're going to come to the mid and try and slow down B-Kid farming, but of course that does open up the window for Moonmeander on that Silhouette to pick up absolute free farm in the bottom.
Yeah, she is just taking off here, and no surprise. Again, Moonmeander, this is something that he is used to, especially when he plays this hero. Seems like we do see it a lot. When he plays Silhouette, he gets a lot of free farm. When it's all said and done, it usually works out for the better. Z-Freak and Center in the meantime, he chased down Jeremiah, chased down N4. Does he have the third ability? No, he doesn't. He does not have his Rockstar, but the boots may be enough. He'll come out for N4, still trying to kite away, has some regen with the trees. It's support going to come in time. Bobbles comes in here. Are we going to see a Kelfield? Maybe he does have Kelfield if he finds it necessary. There's the second see the Hammerstorm stun and Jeremiah all of a sudden the one in trouble. The power snipe will take out N4 though when it's all said and done. Jeremiah on the outer edge of that Kelfield. He ends up taking the stun at the last second, and Jeremiah will fall. So right there, not too bad. I mean, they did end up getting N4 killed, but great job by N4 staying alive as long as she did to bait Jeremiah into a trap.
Absolutely, and Trademark on that Bubbles did some fantastic path blocking to keep N4 alive a lot longer, keeping that Jeremiah far away so he couldn't get that last auto attack. Beautifully done by Trademark.
Yeah, fantastic playing all around. So well played right there. A bit of action picking up. 2-1 hero kill advantage now in favor of our Legion team as we are coming up to the 7-minute mark here in game number 1 between Trademark eSports and Fnatic. Great call, of course. You see Hammerstorm right there, actually using the hammer even to take out the creep wave, knowing that he has to go back to base. Going to use the Galvanize and head back right now. I'm guessing Steam Boots. Yeah, Steam Boots being delivered to him right there. So he's going to get some regen, probably port somewhere.
Exactly.
And, look to either continue to farm or get a gank going. So, but yeah, Silhouette continuing to do her work here at the bottom lane. 30 and 15 creep score. Dark Lady is beating her by quite a bit when you look at it that way, though. 39 and 16 for Dark Lady. So, Silhouette's farm actually hasn't been as great as I was expecting. I mean, now that I'm looking at it, it really isn't as amplified as I thought it would be, considering she's had a lot of free farm. It was a 2 versus 2 early on, but I guess that may have had a big thing to do with it. But
yeah, well, Moon is still steadily on the rise, but this game is definitely reminiscent of that last game that I mentioned. I've referenced a couple times already from last night. But this is sort of what happened. We had 2 lanes where the hard carries were pretty much free farming, and that's what set the tone for the whole game. And already 3 kills in 8 minutes is fairly similar to that as well. So we'll see how it unfolds, but I think there will be a fair amount of static farming as both sides are sort of feeling like they have a pretty solid late game presence. And again, you can certainly understand why. With a match like this, you really want to win the first game in a best of 3.
Yeah. By the way, Dark Lady gets a Scarab here early on, and something we do see, especially when Arrow plays at Dark Lady, she likes to go leave a Scummy wall in the middle, and Hammerstorm in a lot of trouble. Hammerstorm will fall right there. Slither comes in with a poison spray, but obviously a little bit too late. What happened there, actually?
He had an invisibility rune, walked right on top of that ward of Rev. So unfortunate. Very well done by Hani, though. They threw the ward down. They had the top warded. Knew he was invisible, and of course, there's that ward of Rev. So beautifully done by Hani.
Yeah, very, very efficient use of that Revelation. The fact that they got a hero kill out of it. Not only that, but also save themselves from perhaps being in a very dangerous situation. So Yeah, that's unfortunate for B-Kid, but that happens. You know, that's just
Exactly.
smart heads up at the same time.
You know, there's only one ward down right now for Fnatic raid call, and it happens to be right there where that invisibility rune was.
Yes.
So a little bit of luck right there, but B-Kid definitely putting himself maybe a little bit too far forward.
Ooh, they're going to go for a kill and away, so that quick kill comes out. There's a protective charm, keeping him from taking damage from that cell surf coming out from Bubbles. And Witchslayer just stands his ground like the boss that he is right there. So Jeremiah, that's what he'll do. I'll make things difficult on you. Great heal support coming out. Again, I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't at least have that one level to Righteous Aura. We usually see that, especially with the boots first, but deciding it not necessary just yet, and it has the 3 levels of the heal, and of course the 2 levels into protective charm here.
As Diva put it last night, a 1-point wonder, and I think that ability sort of fits into that classification where that 1 point is just nice and valuable, maybe keeping it level 1, but probably worthy of that 1 stat point.
Yeah. We do see Manitou picked up by Dark Lady, so of course that will finish her sustainer, but I still am a little bit, obviously we're uncertain. Is it going to be that typical Rune Cleaver, or because of the Jeremiah pick, will it be a Nullstone to make it very difficult on this Legion team to deal with her? So really curious to see where Era goes from here.
And that is a good thing to point out, although it may seem like overkill. If this Legion side does opt to pick up a Nullfire Blade to try and counter Jeremiah, it will be absorbed through the Nullstone before the repel gets taken off. So that's it could actually be a really good item pickup, though I think he's probably going to go for that Rune Cleaver first because he's had so much time in this lane to free farm, and I don't see that changing in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's definitely just in a complete farm mindset, so wouldn't be surprised to see that either. So yeah, we'll see what Era ultimately ends up choosing. Meantime, in the bottom lane, though, a lot of tower presence being pushed here by our Legion team, and they're going to easily kill it, it looks like. Aluna's here to maybe deny, can flag it to deny. Oh, a little bit too early. Moon Meander will get the tower kill as a result, so good attempt by Fly right there on Aluna, but nothing going to happen from it. Speaking of Fly, by the way, on Aluna, I mean, he's been here at this bottom lane. He's 2-0-0. I mean, remember that snipe he had in the middle lane as well, so. But he's been doing his best to make sure, you know, Silhouette doesn't get too out of hand. I don't know if that's really being accomplished, though, but again, you can't really blame her. It's kind of like she's just a sacrificial lamb down at the bottom lane.
Yeah, Silhouette is definitely looking good now, getting close to that 400 GPM mark as Moonmander takes out some of these neutrals here in the Legion jungle. And he's in pretty good shape, sitting with about 2,600 gold in the bank. Probably going to be picking up that Blessed Orb before too long, moving into the Nullstone. And we'll see where he goes from it. And there it is, that Nullstone going to arrive in the inventory as the courier arrives at. I'll also be curious to see what B-Kid does here as far as item choices. You know, is he going to go Portal Key first or Shrunken Head?
Yeah. I'm trying to recall what he did the last game, actually. We got the cast. I believe it was the Portal Key, but...
he went Mighty Blade, then
Mighty
Portal
Blade,
Key, then
yeah,
finished it.
that's
So
what it was,
he may opt for that again. So it is a very well-rounded build.
Yeah. So we'll see from Hammerstorm right here. You see, he's a little bit tempted to maybe throw a Hammerstorm stun onto Witchslayer right there, especially with Nymphora's Zeal to back him up. But of course, Jeremiah being nearby, that's what we've already seen in this game. You know, it's not the easiest thing. We do see Witchslayer Graveyard going to be used, but again, Hammerstorm kind of like, all right, well, you took a little bit of my life away, whatever. Go ahead and do that. He needs to be careful, though. Of course, Witchslayer does have a silver bullet, so if he keeps letting him chip him down, then eventually he'll get close enough to death. So meanwhile, at the top lane, though, Bubbles trying to port a nice take cover there, preventing the silence from the Dark Blades, and was able to port as a result. So excellent escape right there from Trauf coming out.
Yep, definitely right. Trauf, he's been playing very well this entire tournament, but playing a very good Bubbles this game. Hopefully we can see some more of his Pharaoh play. Earlier on yesterday, he played some fantastic Pharaoh, which was just quite impressive.
Witchslayer whiffing that Graveyard stun there, but again, I don't think he's necessarily going for kills, just keeping the harassment up. So still remaining at a 2-2 game. I mean, you're right. It seems like, obviously I wasn't here to cast it, but from what it sounds like, it was more of a passive mindset game.
Yep.
And there when they played on last night here in the group stages. So here we are 13 minutes into this game. It's definitely fairly passive. I mean, I'm trying to, understand who that really gets the biggest benefit to. It seems like, I mean, right now TDM Silhouette's farm is just off the hook. 406 gold per minute. But Dark Lady, she is not doing too bad at 330 GPM. And again, depending on what item she goes for, if it is that Rune Cleaver, you can expect that to amplify. So the supporting cast, however, I will say, is definitely better on TDM side, at least when it comes to farm. So maybe that could prove to be the big difference maker here.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. B-Kid has now picked up his Mighty Blade, so it looks like he is going to be moving towards a similar build, although of course he could just transition straight into that Shrunken Head should he choose that item path. Yeah.
The Hammerstorm, yeah. With the Mighty pick up. Speaking of Hammerstorm, by the way, they are trying to set up a gank on a Dark Lady, but you see Dark Lady not pushing up too far. Out comes a Slither Ward, and Dark Lady should be fine. Hammerstorm, though, going around the back, and they do have the Courier here. The Mighty Blade is still on it, so I'm not sure if that's just a misclick or if he's purposely doing that. Okay, so it is going to finally go on top of him. And he will take the Mighty Blade off the Courier. The dive on a Dark Lady, perhaps. No, she's going to Charging Strikes away. And it will be fine. Hammerstorm really wants to find that opportunity, but Dark Lady's doing a very good job playing passive enough, not giving him the dive chance. Oh, may have just given it right there. There's a Hammerstorm stun. The port's coming in, but will it be in time? The Song of the Sea nuke, and down goes Dark Lady. She'll support out from Bubbles at the last second. Wizard joins the party. The Summer Bullet on his Slither with Jeremiah running in. That should be a guaranteed kill right there. Hane will take credit for it. Hammerstorm ultimate activated. He does have a stun up in 1 second. Gonna go for Glacius. Yes! Oh, the Salt Blessing at the last second from Jeremiah. Sage Glacius, and they get that kill on a Hammerstorm. Perfect timing by Jeremiah right there. Middle lane, though, Silhouette does take out the tower there.
Absolutely. A great effort from B-Kid, a perfect thought, but an even better Jeremiah ultimate, as you pointed out. All the while there, Moonmander taking out that tier 1 tower in the mid lane, so there is a positive amongst that negative up in the top. And No Tail has denied a tower as well up in that top lane. So 2 towers have now gone down for Fnatic.
Yeah, that's definitely good news there. It still remains, or it is a 4,400 gold lead, though, in favor of TDM. You know, definitely a big reason being that 1,100 experience lead on top, and that's not nearly as good, but still in the lead nonetheless.
That's
and
Silhouette.
That's the important thing. Yeah, Silhouette level 10 right now. Well, he's tied with actually Era for being a level 10, the highest in the game. You see the XPM though, and it definitely is in favor of Silhouette. But I'm looking at the Hellborn jungle right now. I mean, look at the Hellborn jungle. We got a triple stack here on the right, triple stack on the south part, and these are, oh yeah, we got is that a double stack right there? I believe it is. So great stacking going on here from our Fnatic Raycall team. You know, getting the farm ready for this Dark Lady, and that kind of leads me to believe that she is going to be going for a Rune Cleaver. They're basically setting it up for that Rune Cleaver chance or opportunity when she does get it, just tear through those jungle creeps and amplify her farm right away. So
I definitely think so. I sitting with 1,400 in the bank, so still a little ways off that Rune Cleaver. I don't believe he's bought that first broadsword quite yet. Of course, still sitting on red boots. So we'll see, but I'm still very confident it will be that Rune Cleaver indeed. Other item pickups here. Silhouette sitting with just about 3K gold in the bank, so does have enough for that Nullstone. He did buy a Blessed Orb earlier, although he now has the Sustainers. I don't know if he sold it and picked up the Sustainer, or if the Blessed Orb is in the bank.
I saw that you said that he purchased the Nullstone, but I didn't see it myself. So
he may have sold it back and just gone for the Sustainer.
Probably just sold it back right away. Yeah, to change things up. So currently 2,900 gold saved up, but it looks like we are going to be coming back here, just passing the 15-minute mark now, 15.5 minutes. And there you go. There's our beautiful crowd once again. Make some noise, crowd. Yeah, you're enjoying some Heroes to New Earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. All right. Sometimes they come through, sometimes they don't.
Sometimes
you know what
it's 50-50.
They're just so focused on the game, though.
Blacksmith
it's understandable. But anyway, so you see Slither right here cleaning out the Vulture Lord camp in the Legion jungle. Going to start taking advantage of those wards of his, which are now level 2 Toxin wards. So he did choose to get a level 2 into Poison Spray as well, and of course has his ultimate on top of that.
Yeah.
Possible bottom rune action maybe coming up here if they keep on pushing, maybe not.
But keep in mind, Witchslayer has now picked up a portal key. So we were talking about No Tail, and his play style tends to be very mobile with post haste, portal keys all around, and of course not letting us down with this Witchslayer. So a little bit of a rarity to see that here, and almost some action up in the top lane.
That is a fast turtle right there.
That is a
speeding away with the haste rune. So obviously I got caught by the Hex from Witchslayer, but of course with the haste rune, wasn't going to get caught out there. So
those Ninja Turtles, man.
Ninja Turtles doing work. Love that skin.
Yeah. Dark
Lady cleaning out the Ancients here, and now up to 2,300 gold. So very, very close to finishing that Rune Cleaver once again. And as soon as she does, I'm sure she will go right to the jungle. In fact, there we go. The double broadsword is purchased, so the Rune Cleaver will be picked up here. Apparently some more issues of lag being called here.
One of the dreaded blue screens. So we may be here for a moment or two.
Yeah.
One pause left.
One pause left.
So let's hope the blue screen gods are with us.
Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Hope and pray.
That would not be good. So looks like No Tail was the victim this time around.
That No Tail. This is punishment for getting that portal key on Witchslayer.
Obviously.
on red boots as well. And that is one thing No-Tail does pretty consistently. Red boots straight into portal key. And every time I see it, I just go, But he makes it work. And there have been some games we've seen 45 minutes and he's still on red boots.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he'll go for the Striders if he just finds it necessary, really wants to just run around with it. Or, like this time, going the portal key. And like I even said from the beginning, possible post days. I really wouldn't be surprised, especially knowing that it is No-Tail. So, yeah, wouldn't be surprised if that is the case here from our Hellborn team. Jeremiah, I mean, I keep looking back at his farm to see if he's really increasing. Not really. I mean, he has, I guess, he's even been babysitting a Witch Slayer for in that middle lane. That's kind of what he was doing. So I guess I shouldn't be too shocked that his farm really isn't reflecting of a good amount of creep kills. As I pulled that up, only 10 creep kills for him. So not necessarily going for the farm there this game. He is playing really more the bitch ward support even. Oh, well, that's Glacius, but the bitch support.
Yeah, well, at least he's getting those levels. I mean, he is level 8, and Jeremiah definitely one of those heroes who really needs to just hit level 6 as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Or, well, at least on par with everyone else, of course. The ultimate, I think we're all pretty familiar with the Soul's Blessing. Which actually did get a change recently. A small change, but complete invulnerability
it was
now.
more of a, when I had Dogkaiser on, I brought that up to him, and as he stated, it's more of really just a fix than it. It's one of those cases of,
it's true.
Why wasn't it this way? I mean, why is it 1,000 armor? Why not just make it?
The one thing, though, that 1,000 armor, some damage still will go through. Very, very little. But, in those close calls, like you saw in the top lane, you never know. It's would have been a close call. But absolute invulnerability now. As far as physical damage is concerned.
Yeah. So that's definitely, again, receiving some of those changes there. Oh, hello.
Hello, hello. Hello.
Hello there.
Hello, strange world.
So, yeah, we are still waiting for No-Tail to get back here from the computer issues. Again, this is game 1 here of this TDM versus Fnatic Raid Call series. The winner of this will be playing in the DreamHack Arena and competing for that big portion of the $60,000 prize pool. So, they'll be playing the winner of Black Fade versus TT eSports, who, of course, are going to be playing after this Best of the 3 series. So, plenty of HoN action coming in. And that's actually interesting because I was actually talking to Nova when the last game finished up. He was over here watching TT eSports versus TDM. And I was talking to Nova, and he was kind of expecting TT eSports to pick them. And his reasoning was that he feels very confident in the Dream Arena. And, him, especially Fly, No-Tail, they have a lot of experience in the Dream Arena in that big environment, that experience, seeing all the fans right there, 1,000+ people being in the arena. Yeah. They have the experience. So he figured, if they're going to have to play them, they want to play them in the first round where they have a little bit better chance perhaps. But
I can see that logic, and that's definitely a time where having that experience will come into play. Because right now, they're playing in the players section. There may be a few fans over there watching over the gate, but in the Dream Arena, that's really can be intimidating for the first time. So, and I'm sure you can speak to that as you've been to the Dream Arena a few times yourself.
Yeah, it still is intimidating.
Yeah, always intimidating on the main stage.
You go in there and you see those fans lined up and in the seats and everything, cheering for Heroes of New Earth. It's an awesome experience. It really is. And definitely it makes it humbling knowing that what you do, so many people care about what you're involved in. So.
Absolutely.
Really looking forward to that tonight. But, of course, we need to figure out what the two teams are going to be going into that. And no matter the matchup, it's going to be epic. I mean, with these these 4 teams here that are left, you can't go wrong. You really can't. So
as we've said a few times already, I really don't know who's going to make it to the finals. It could be any of these 4 teams. They're all so skilled, so evenly matched, and they've all been practicing so hard for this event. They're all just in prime shape right now. Some of the best HoN players in the world. Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to see again what happens there and what happens going into that. So
so it looks like No-Tail did reconnect and back to blue screen. So we're going to have to wait for another reset here. So sorry for the lengthy pause, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, out of our control, but shall be resumed as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so on that note, might as well bring up the announcement again of the Mid-Wars Challenge, which is taking place tomorrow. Of course, the Mid-Wars Challenge, it's for our 3rd day here. So after the event, we'll be finishing tonight here for the main event. But, of course, that doesn't mean the show's over. That doesn't mean we're done here. So for those that are here in person and, watching on the stream, there will be more Heroes of New Earth coverage. Because tomorrow, the Mid-Wars Challenge, it's actually going to be a competition with the pro players that are here from all the teams. There's going to be a captain from each team, and they'll randomly draft players from the other teams. And so we're going to have these mixture of all these pro teams playing together here in this Mid-Wars tournament where the eventual winner will take home a $1,000 prize pool. So, again, money on the line. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a fun game mode in general to play and especially watch, as we have seen as well. So
a lot of Mid-Wars fans out there. You know, one of the cool things that S2's done recently, you know, really responding to something the community's been all about. I mean, Mid-Wars has been going on since beta. Yeah. And, you know, S2 looked at that and actually implemented it into the game, which is pretty cool. You know, and the fun awards afterwards, and it's nice and relaxing. You know, no stats style.
Exactly.
It's really a cool twist on the game. You can still play Han, but you know, relax a little bit after a nice TMM session.
Yeah, I know for myself, and I can speak for a lot of people out there. You know, this game can be frustrating at times. There are those rage moments, but I found that playing Mid-Wars, that it just doesn't happen. I mean, I could lose horribly, I could win, you know, greatly, and it just doesn't matter. I mean, exactly. You know that it's there. There's no stats, just having fun. And you're just nuking people and everything. So
I will say, Accursed is quite annoying to play against. That's the one thing that makes me
annoying to play against. Yeah, you're Behemoth, you're Accursed, your Devour can always be very dangerous.
A couple really annoying heroes in Mid-Wars for sure.
All right, looks like we are ready. Going back into the game now. So game one going to resume here between Trademark eSports and Fnatic. Raid call. So hopefully, again, no more issues to come. We got the Rune Cleaver finished on Darklit, as we just said. And again, remember, those jungle camps are still stacked right now in favor of the Hellborn team, as you see right here. Oh, actually, I misclicked that. But as you see right here, you know, we got some triple stacks going. It's a double stack. So, in fact, there we go. She is headed towards the jungle. And sure enough, going to start farming those as expected. So, expect that gold per minute. She is at 335 right now. It's gonna jump up in this next minute here.
Yeah, absolutely right. And slowly going to be catching up to that Moon Meander, who is still in really good shape. I mean, well above 400 GPM, has that Nullstone complete around 17 minutes, which is a nice, timely Nullstone, considering the other core items he's picked up. And I'll be curious to see if he moves straight into that portal key.
Yeah, I want to know that too. And of course, speaking of that portal key, we do got Hammerstorm, 1,700 gold saved up, so possibly that is going to be his item choice here. But yeah, just looking at Darklit, already up to 364. I mean, she just jumped up nearly 30 gold per minute right there. In a matter of cleaning up those stacked creeps in the jungle. So it goes to show you how powerful, you know, your support can be for you if they prepare something like that. And of course, at this top tier level of play, especially with a team like Fnatic Raid Call and with Nova doing the dirty work, it really is no surprise. But Jerezai going to go towards the top and actually applies Protective Charm to himself right before he goes into his Ninja, the double damage rune. So wanting to play safe right there, and for very good reason, of course. So he is going to be fine. Hammerstorm cleaning up some Ancients in the meantime. So more and more passive play for these two teams coming out here.
Absolutely. And again, this is a bit of a reflection of these two teams, and part of it is some respect. You know, these teams not cocky, recognizing that very worthy adversaries on both sides of the coin. So neither side, you know, going too crazy, both playing very, very smart and just focusing on that farm and not making any silly mistakes that could set them behind early on.
Yeah. Moon Meander once again on Silhouette, just continuing to farm up himself, and that GPM is very reflecting of it, but Darklit is starting to catch up all of a sudden again with that Rune Cleaver pick. I mean, it just keeps going up and up. She's doing Ancients right now with those double stacks, it looks like. So she is very, very quickly catching up to Silhouette, but Silhouette still leads the way at 435 gold per minute, as we're talking about. You know, are we going to see that portal key quickly, or are we going to see something like a Shrunken Head, perhaps, trying to go more defensive minded along with that Nullstone here? We'll have to wait and see, but something here that's kind of been quiet a little bit, we haven't talked too much about throughout this game, is this Progress Slither being played by Z-Freak. He hasn't, you know, when it comes to farming, he was playing more of a babysit role early on, so again, I guess it's not too surprising. He's farming about 150 gold per minute right now. He's getting close to an Astrolabe finished here. So usually a hero you want to try to be able to build somewhat beefy so that you can get in the midst of those team fights, not only get that poison burst off with his ultimate, but also spread around that toxicity and, you know, buy time for yourself to do so.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. Sometimes in the past when we've seen a Slither get good farm, he's just gone straight tank right up in the top lane, though. Nova going to get picked off here as Nymphora uses that ultimate, it looks like, with that Bubbles, and Sender actually going to get credit for that kill.
Yeah, that was a great port in, of course, from Nymphora coming out, and that's something we should expect on that note to start seeing more as well. I mean, especially with Nymphora Bubbles, very powerful combination when it comes to that, and even Hammerstorm now with that portal key to go with Nymphora. So this is where the aggression can definitely start picking up here in favor of our Legion team right now. And by all means, I do expect that. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bubbles and Hammerstorm both with portal keys. Silhouette now with about 2,200 in the bank. So if Moon is going to opt for that portal key, that could be an option as well. And with Nymphora, they have so much mobility. Like you said, that could be their green light to really start getting aggressive. Though they may actually wait for B-Kid to finish up that Shrunken Head before they go totally balls to the wall. And B-Kid going to get caught here. That Shrunken Head is not. Shrunken Head. That portal key is not going to go off. It's going to get interrupted. Travelador going to get taken down also. Era going to pick up that double tap on Dark Lady. What better hero for Fnatic Raid Call? They're going to dive this tower. They're going in. Down goes Nymphora. The hat trick coming out for Era. And Slither may find himself in a little bit of trouble as well. He's still sitting on red boots, though I'm not sure they're going to be able to catch him. There's the Taint Soul. Look at the range on that boy. Bad boy. The poison spray going to come out. Is it going to be enough, though? And it looks like it may be. He's going to use that power supply and head towards home.
Well, that was an interesting start to that fight. Hammerstorm, of course, being played by B-Kid. Now, it's almost as if he disconnected right there, but what he was doing, he was trying to bait them. That's what he was trying to do right there.
Yeah.
So the fact that he got jump actually was for the benefit. Look at Moonmeander, by the way, all the way diving past the second tower and able to drop a Luna now. We do see a port coming in from Dark Liddy, but I think Silhouette will be fine in the end. But what ended up happening there was Hammerstorm didn't realize how many people were actually there, and the burst potential was way too intense for him to survive. And then we saw just the follow-up that happened. So yeah, just really unfortunate for B-Kid right there that he wasn't able to do anything. Winsare will get picked off though by Bubbles and Nymphora. So once again, this combination doing work, and they're also going to steal some of the jungle creep. So just because it didn't work out so well at the top lane, that's not going to intimidate TDM too much, as they're going to keep up the aggressive play, really as they should, especially with that Nymphora and a Bubbles combination. So.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that worked out very well for Fnatic.
Yeah, certainly right. Like I said, for some reason, Shrunken Head came out when I was trying to say portal key, but I heard the sound in my headset, and he just didn't get it off in time. Very, very clutch timing for Fnatic Raid Call. And to compliment Sender here, like you said, Nymphora has been very, very active setting up kills. Absolutely fantastic. It's always frustrating. We see an Nymphora hit level 6 and then just not capitalize on that ultimate. So Sender off to a great start.
Yeah, we did see that portal key picked up on Silhouette. And speaking of item pickups, and I was talking about this earlier, but we sure enough see it, the Abyssal Skull on Dark Liddy. This is your usual era build with Dark Liddy, what she likes to do. And this is a big reason for it, is that he can sit in the Kongor pit and do Kongor pretty effectively. Obviously, having a double damage rune kind of helps. But look at this. Kongor is dropping quickly right here. He is already half-life. You see Slither coming in with the ward, another ward going down. So I believe they should have I think they should have vision now of what's actually going on in there.
Just look at Hani's position, though. He's right in between the trees, ready to support that Dark Lady. If they come, but Zfree going to get jumped by No-Tail. That's the power of the portal key on Witch Slayer, Breaky CPK.
Yeah, there you go. The portal key initiation. Here we go. Kongor dropping once again. And with Bubble, now the Slither did actually. That's really unfortunate for the Legion team. So Fnatic Raid Call, they are going to easily get this Kongor kill. So very good positioning on their part. And Token of Life picked up by Dark Lady right there.
Wow.
So yeah, the momentum definitely pretty big right there for Fnatic.
Definitely a bit of a swing. I mean, TDM obviously still with about a 3K gold lead, 1.4K experience lead, but that token is absolutely huge. And you mentioned that Abyssal Skull on Dark Lady, and that's a pretty classic era on, or pretty classic era style playing Dark Lady. I think the few times we've seen him play Dark Lady recently, he's done almost this exact same build.
Yeah, the Abyssal Skull, and it really does make sense. I mean, Abyssal Skull is such a powerful item, especially if you want to get something to get your, for your attack modifier, something else other than the lifesteal. It brings that lifesteal for you. It has a great amount of armor, a great amount of regen. It really is just a powerful tool, and it does make me wonder why we don't see it a little bit more on heroes like a Dark Lady for other players, because it really seems like Arrow's the only one to do that. In the meantime, speaking of Arrow though, he's in a lot of trouble. Look at that burst potential coming out from the Legion team, so he drops immediately. Down will go Glacius right there. Dark Lady gonna try to get out with the charging strikes, but that kill fail keeps her in place. Now she did use her ultimate right here. That could be the saving grace. Look at the turnaround. The Abyssal Skull with the lifesteal, not gonna be enough though. A double tap coming out from Moon Meander, and Silhouette will gladly take that. So Nymphora constantly doing work here. Sender deserving a lot of props here.
Exactly. Beautiful execution from TDM. That was so well done. That Dark Lady didn't even have time to react. The timing on Hammerstorm's PK was almost perfect with Nymphora's port, and just nothing Era could do there. And of course, burning the token and also killing him in the end. Very fantastic for TDM.
Yeah, that was huge there. The fact that Kongor got half, we're like, oh, well, this is not good for TDM. They're going to have to deal with that now. Well, they dealt with it very quickly and very easily, it seemed like. when it's all said and done. So Astrolabe going to be used right here, healing up the creep wave, healing up the heroes, and they're going to do a little bit of pressure here at the top lane, but not too much because they're porting middle lane. They want to catch Witchslayer, and Witchslayer they will get. In comes a jump. Just again, look at the burst potential that we're starting to see here from Trademark eSports. Now with the 3 portal keys, they are doing work with those things. Yeah, they're just so mobile.
I mean, again, with that Nymphora ultimate and 3 portal keys, they can be anywhere so quickly. See in the top, though, Sender going to be in big trouble. He is going to port out, and I think he's going to be able to make it in time. Just barely. Glacius almost in range for that freeze. So Sender is going to be able to survive to tell the tale. Yeah, it was kind of interesting, you know, him being there in the first place, but obviously knew something was up, so I was hoping to kind of eventually get out of there, but it didn't end up working out, so that's the good news for Nymphora, of course. Tablet of Command is purchased on Bubbles, so along with this portal key, not too bad. And, you know, speaking of Bubbles, 290 gold per minute. He's been having a solid game all throughout, of course, being played by Trademark, but it is all about Moon Meander on that silhouette. 492 gold and counting right now for himself, and that Mighty Blade pickup. So, you know, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Shrunken Head. Very likely could be that, or it could be the Ice Brand. We'll have to wait and see what Silhouette decides to do here, but yep, certainly right indeed. So we'll see if TDM keeps up the pressure here. There are still all 3 of the tier 2 towers remaining for Fnatic, and Fnatic's actually still yet to push a single tier 1 tower from TDM, and that's definitely a big reason why we see the gold lead that TDM has now. And Nymphora does have that ultimate up, though. They're all grouped up down here in the Legion jungle, looking like well, they're just trying to find that opportunity to set something up. We see Hammerstorm right next to Sender, and Trademark going to port to the top. He's going to port to that tier 2 tower in the top. Where's Nymphora going to come in there? They're looking for this opportunity. Not going to be able to score the deny. Yeah, that was a good attempt right there. But no, I guess they're not going to port. They're instead just going to keep pushing the bottom. They realize the numbers that are down there at that bottom side. You see Hammerstorm waiting for maybe somebody to come up here, and that's somebody maybe coming in right now. There's a Dark Lady. Oh, she just charging striked. This is the time for Hammerstorm. Or not. Never mind. Okay, Nymphora, they're going to port to the middle lane, actually. Nymphora comes over here with Hammerstorm, and that's going to be a free kill onto a Luna. So they want to go for the safer option, so can't blame them too much. But they do get a kill nonetheless. Yeah. So that's what really matters in the end. But Dark Lady will live, as she finished her no-stone, by the way, right there. So there you go. There you go. There's that powerful no-stone protective charm combination that she'll have. So even if they choose to get a Nullfire Blade, they're not getting that thing off. So. Yeah, interestingly enough, though, it doesn't look like anyone's working towards Nullfire Blade, at least not yet. So we'll see if that comes out, or if TDM is simply just going to say, we're just not going to mess with that, given that he has a Nullstone now, not worth the investment. Moon Meander has now finished his Shrunken Head, as you were just mentioning, which makes him an even more deadly adversary, and he's still keeping up with this Dark Lady and farm. Again, mostly because of those kills he's been able to pick up, now sitting 6-0-0, 0 assists for Moon Meander right now. Yeah, jeez. Doing work himself, you know, just carrying the team on his back, you could say. Strong guy. Yeah, all 5 are going to group up here and push through this middle lane, so they're Bubbles going off to the side to scout things out right there. I believe that's the real, no, is that the fake Bubbles? It is, holy crap, they look the same. The tower, though, dropping quickly. Hellborn team kind of collapsing right here. Maybe they can find their opportunity. Level 17 Dark Lady. Remember, she has that Protective Charm, and of course, with the Protective, or she has a null stun. Anyways, here we go. Witchslayer will jump in. The Shrunken Head activated by Silhouette, but in the background, Dark Lady tearing up heroes left and right. Now she's going for Silhouette, and that was the fake Silhouette. So Silhouette will be fine. But a great stand right there from our Hellborn team. They take out both Nymphora and Slither, and now they're going to have some numbers advantage. But Dark Lady with those Dark Blades, I mean, again, just showing you the damage output that she has right now. Exactly, and I'm not really sure why TDM pressured that tower the way they did. They're not going to be able to withstand a straight-up 5v5 fight. They're winning right now because they've been finding these micro-engages. They've been using their numbers in 3v1s, 3v2s to pick up those kills. In a straight-up fight, as soon as Jeremiah ultimates, it's all over. As soon as that Protective Charm comes on Dark Lady, she's going to kill somebody. Whether it's a support, whether it's somebody important, she's going to put out a hell of a lot of damage. So, you know, TDM needs to continue finding these small engages, power in numbers. If that Jeremiah ult comes out, they need to find a way to reset those fights. Yeah, agree 100%. I mean, Soul's Blessing, you know, arguably, you know, one of the best team fight turnaround abilities in the game. I mean, up there with the Tempest ultimate. Yeah, exactly, up there with the Tempest ultimate. So, if you do see that, you know, it's better for your sake to kind of reset the fight yourself, or else you're going to be running into kind of a brick wall almost. So, yeah, very good fight right there from our Fnatic team. Obviously, a lot of push coming out of that. 3,200 more gold now saved up on Dark Lady, and she has very comfortably surpassed Silhouette when it comes to GPM farm now. 550 GPM, excuse me. Wow. Compared to the 505 for Silhouette. So Silhouette, I mean,
she's still doing fantastic herself, so don't get me wrong, but Dark Hoodie has surpassed her, and I believe Silhouette's pretty much been in the lead for the majority of this game. So she does have around 2,000 gold saved up herself, though. When is BK going to start shining in this game? Obviously, he had a solid start, and, we saw the last time we saw him, he did very, very well. This time around hasn't been as effective. He is working on the Shrunken Head, I would assume. Now trying to finish that with that Mighty Blade, and, of course, that Portal Key that he already has. But getting big plays from him will be useful. And then even Slither. We'd like to see Slither start building up a little bit. I know, again, that he was playing more of a babysit role earlier on, but, it's not using his full potential because of the lack of farm on him.
Yeah, I think Hammerstorm, though, is really a big problem right now. His farm really never took off. He's still sub 300 GPM, and even early on, he was hovering around 250 or so and never really was able to break out of that. And Infora port into the mid lane, though, looking for an opportunity, and they are not going to find any heroes. Hoping to find someone there, but unfortunately not going to be able to secure a kill. So I think you're right. I mean, once Hammerstorm picks up that Shrunken Head, I think he'll be much more useful.
Yeah. So, see if that comes in the near future. They were attempting to gank Luna yet again there in the middle lane, but Luna a little bit too quick. I guess either heard it or spotted the inning coming and decided to run away. So speaking of Luna, she's got her Storm Spirit, her Tablet of Command. I mean, she's been having a very solid game overall now at 260 gold per minute herself. So not too shabby from our Silhouette player, but the story of this game, I mean, for both teams, it's all about those carries. Dark Lady, of course, for Fnatic, and Silhouette for Trademark eSports. Kongor should be up in the near future. You do see Fnatic, of course, around the area. Hastrun going to be able to be picked up here by our Hellborn team. And Hammerstorm. Are you going to be able to portal key? Chainsaw going to come out there, prevents the portal key. The Dark Blades are activated, and no for Hammerstorm. Too much damage coming out. So great Chainsaw coming out from Dark Lady right there. And that is a great tool to prevent portal keys away, as we saw. So,
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Taint Soul has an 1100 range. So as we saw right there, from a very, very long distance, can just prevent him from not only using that portal key, but then he's stuck slowed to set up that kill and make it even easier. Fnatic Raid Call all grouped up down here in the bottom lane, going to put some pressure on the Tier 2 tower. All the while, though, TDM is up in the Hellborn jungle. Looks like they're going to pressure the Tier 2 up in the top lane. And we could eventually have a tower race here. We'll see what these teams decide to do. One of them is going to have to port back, or, well, perhaps both teams will sacrifice their barracks. TDM starting to spread out, though, as we see both Bubbles and Silhouette kind of headed towards home. They need to be careful, though. Fnatic Raid Call is putting a lot of pressure on the base. The base tower already down to below half health. Dark Lady doing a hell of a lot of damage here. TDM is going to port back, and that's going to be Fnatic Raid Call's sign to get out of there.
Yeah, and very, very smart. I mean, really is no reason to just force this in. I mean, you got 100 gold per minute lead now for this Dark Lady over the Silhouette, so she is just really taking off now against this team. And, it's just a matter of time before she does become unstoppable. I mean, she has finished a Frostburn, of course, and now from here, I would assume, splitting that up into the combination wouldn't be a bad option, but we'll see. Maybe just raw damage output. Maybe even a Wingbow might not be a horrible option here, honestly, for Dark Lady, if she chooses to go for it. Silhouette just purchased a Nullifier Blade, by the way. More Dark Lady in a lot of trouble, actually, by herself. Good activate the ultimate, trying to strike array, and she may go back in for a kill even. No, she's going to run away, though.
No.
That Dark Lady ultimate is so powerful. You can tell it completely scattered Trademark eSports right there, and then Fora will eventually fall 2 attacks later, and then Fora sliced and diced. Very good escape from air coming out. But again, it shows you the power of that Dark Lady Cover of Darkness, and really what it can do. She will try to strike again, but not worth it in the end. But a big push now coming to the top lane.
Absolutely, and it looks like TDM is really in trouble here. That last engage before that little fight, almost trying to kill Dark Lady. They didn't even kill that top Tier 2 tower, so they wasted a lot of time and just sacrificed so much damage on that bottom Tier 3. I mean, right now, if Fnatic pushes in and tries to force a team fight, I don't know what TDM's going to do. I mean, in the base with that Jeremiah ultimate, it's going to be rough. We're going to see Slither port back to the base as the pain train was incoming. Luckily, he got out of the way in time.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about that Nullifier Blade purchase from Silhouette. I mean, now, if it's a case of something else other than being able to purge off the Protective Charm of Soul's Blessing, then, okay, if you got it for maybe mana burn purposes or just because it's a solid all-around item, then fine. But to me, it seems like your strategy here is going to have to be jump Jeremiah as soon as possible, get him killed before he gets anything off. And, the best way to do that is really with raw damage or good crowd control.
Yeah.
And Nullifier Blade doesn't really bring either one of those significantly. So.
Right, and especially with the bubbles, you have that silence, so if Hammerstorm can initiate with a stun and follow up with a silence, that could be huge. Of course, Kongor under attack here, and he's dangerously low. We're going to have an engage break.
Here we go. Jarazai going to use the heal right there. Soul's blessing at the last second, but it goes down after as in comes the true grapple from Silhouette. In the meantime, the Kelfield locking them in place. There's that poison burst coming out from Seafreak on the Slither. Glacius and will drop right here, which they're making it out. It looks like he is going to be fine. And Aluna coming back in, but look at Darklit. He's still balls to the wall. He's level 22. He is looking to clean up, and Era will take out Slither in the matter of hits right there. Era is doing work right now for Fnatic Raycall. I believe we have some buybacks too coming out. It looks like, yes, Jarazai actually buys back, so Darklit goes back into the Kongor pit and will finish him off. What cleanup from Era right there.
Yeah, exactly. A 2-for-4 exchange. Of course, Jarazai alive because of the buyback, as you mentioned. And there it is, going to right-click a wing bow, unless my eyes were deceiving me. Was that a wing bow?
Was that a wing bow? Yes, it was.
All right. Well, like I said, I think things looking very rough for TDM right here. You know, that fight was sort of icing on the cake almost. The momentum's definitely been shifting in favor of Fnatic Raycall. Now Dark Lady up to 650 GPM, 200 ahead of Silhouette with that token, actually without the token.
I love the token of life on Jarazai.
Yeah,
I mean, because again, it goes back to the point that we're just making that they should be focusing Jarazai, taking him out as soon as possible.
Right.
So that's, you know, it's basically going to be the point. You know, you can go ahead and kill me. I'll just come right back up and do my thing anyway. So. Love that choice there from our Hellborn side. So Protector Charm applied. Look at Dark Lady just tears up Nymphora as if she's just thinner. Even Hammerstorm has no chance. I'm expecting the GG well plays to come out any second right now. Hat trick by Era. He's going for the quad kill, and the quad kill he will get. There's the GG well plays, and Fnatic Raycall will take game one over Trademark eSports.
Wow, so what a game there to start things off in this best of 3 breaky. It was looking good for TDM. They were reacting so well with that Nymphora ultimate, but unfortunately Era, as he tends to do, just got a little bit too beefy for him to handle.
Jeez, I mean, he finished that game. He's level 25. Look at everyone else in that game. The next closest is Silhouette at level 19.
Nova was level 8, and
Nova
Dark Lady was level 25. Wow.
Talk about carrying your team. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Now remember, guys, it is a best out of 3, so that was just game 1 of the best out of 3. So of course, game 2 should be coming up shortly here. But Fnatic now in prime position here in the series, up 1-0 as a result of that victory, of course. But yeah, I mean, Dark Lady's performance just unstoppable that game. And we saw at the very end, I believe he one-shot Nymphora. I mean, he 3-shot Hammerstorm. They just didn't have a chance. It was too powerful. Something tells me a Dark Lady ban.
Dark Lady
may be very possible in game 2.
Or maybe a Jarazai ban, or maybe an Electrician pick.
Yeah.
Any of the 3?
I don't know if Jarazai was necessarily the biggest factor. I think, yes, Jarazai, of course, helped, but I think Dark Lady was really more of the God.
Yeah.
You get her farm, I mean, those Dark Blades will tear you up.
You're definitely right, but the key, I think, for Jarazai being a really driving force in that game was the momentum swing was because of that Soul's Blessing at that Tier 2 tower in the mid when TDM overcommitted. If Jarazai wasn't there, I think TDM would have been able to take that fight, and that would have been a completely different game from that point forward. But after they overcommitted, the Soul's Blessing came out, and there was just nothing they could do.
Yeah. All right, so while we're waiting for game number 2 right here, go ahead and we'll pull up another question for Dream Comes True. Of course, this is the event that S2 Games are running here for the DreamHaN event, where you at home tuning in, guys, you and a friend will have a chance to be flown out here to Yanchiping for DreamHack Winter 2012 and experience the great venue that is DreamHack. So it's a huge opportunity. You're going to meet all of us. You're going to meet all the players. You're going to meet everyone. If you're any type of a gamer, it's an experience that you will appreciate. So
every game you can imagine.
It really is. I mean, hey, yeah, walk around and see Hello Kitty. I mean, no, didn't see that one yet. All right. Anyway, so of course you need to answer 7 of the 10 questions correctly. We've been asking through the cast, so I'm sure if you are tuning in, you're aware of that by now. So here we are with question number 6. So what was the last hero that came out before Han was officially released? Was it Monkey King, Kraken, Gladiator, or Deadwood?
Seems the questions are getting a little more harder.
They are. I don't know this one.
Yeah.
I really don't know
I
this
actually don't. I have an educated guess, but I cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah.
So, cool stuff. So, again, guys, there is a time limit on that, so act now. I believe you have a 15-minute window. Go to the general forums on the Heroes of North website, and you will find the thread where the poll is. If you get the right answer, that will count as one of your 7 questions. So, go ahead and do that now. And as Breaky said, we have some downtime anyway, so what better to do than check out the Heroes of North forums?
There you go, guys. Definitely check those out because it's very simple, very, very easy, of course, to do so. We're going to go ahead and take a really quick break right here, guys, so definitely stay tuned. Of course, we'll be having Game 2 coming up very quickly here. I believe they are starting to get things set up. A quick break, and then we'll be back. So Game 2 between Fnatic Breakcall and TDM. Stay tuned.
play carry or suicide.
I'm Z-Freak and I play second support or jungler.
I am Sender and I buy the wards.
I'm B-Kid and I play carry and ganker.
I'm Trademark and I play utility / carry.
We are Trademark eSports! So far, my experience this year has been just amazing. The competition at DreamHack this year is really strong. It's probably the most even of the teams it's ever been.
I feel like we're gonna go 8-0. I don't think we're gonna lose any games.
I'm not really scared of any teams. I think we can beat anyone, and I would always go into a match thinking we're gonna win. I never think we're gonna lose.
I don't think there's any team out there that can beat us in a best of 3.
I think what makes our team unique is we all come from different teams and different backgrounds, and we're the only North American team right now.
It's kind of cool being here as the only North American team and representing our country.
With the exception of Sender, we all stream pretty frequently, and we have really high popularity in that regard. Moon has I want to say close to 11 million viewers already, and he streams, and it brings a lot of attention to the scene and our team.
It's my first time here. I get to see a lot of fans, a lot of crazy fans. Some fans brought me Swedish meatballs.
I know for us, all our fans back home and all our fans here, it would just be really great if we can come out on top.
So there you go. There's a little bit of Trademark eSports for you, a little bit of introduction to the team, maybe if you weren't aware, and obviously a pretty confident team at that, and good to see that. So
Exactly. I mean, my favorite part about this event is check. Are we good?
yeah, we're good.
Okay.
That's
I couldn't hear myself for a
fiddling
second.
my
so,
stuff.
yeah. Anyhow, it's really good to actually be able to match the faces to the names. You know, some of the few players that stream quite a bit, like Moon. You know, we all know what he looks like. We all know who he is, but there's a lot of players that we really don't know so well as far as who they are in real life. So I really like that kind of a style video where we get to see them, see their personality shine a little bit, and see what their team's all about.
Yeah, that's definitely the full experience. You know, it's one thing to just be simply a player for the game. It's another thing to play on that, on that competitive level, and even the pro status level. Like these teams here, of course, you can consider them to be pro teams and pro players here for Heroes of New Earth. And it is more. It's more than just it's about making them personalities. It's about getting them personalities. Getting them fan base, and videos like that. Will help with stuff like that. So
absolutely,
it's a lot of fun to do, and it looks like they were having a lot of fun there, and I can vouch that they have been having a lot of fun at this event, but not having so much fun right now because they're currently down 1-0 against Fnatic Raid Call. So it puts them in a tough spot. Obviously, you need to win here to force that third game.
Exactly. And I think, well, I know both teams really, really want this. We're at that point where it's all on the line. There's very small margin for error here. TDM really needs this game to continue the series. Of course, they're going to have to win the next 2 in a row to move on to the finals.
Yeah.
Fnatic is just 1 game away from returning to the Dream Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I mean,
think about that for a second.
You just said that, and it's like, wow, you're right. They're that close to going back to the Dream Arena, competing in the finals. Again, we're talking about the 3-time DreamHack Champions in Fnatic Raid Call. The fact that they're 1 game away from going back there, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but it's still like, wow. Trademark eSports, this is it right here, guys. If they lose here, they're done. They will be playing in a 3rd-place match, of course. As I stated earlier, all 4 teams are getting prize pool, and there is a difference between 3rd and 4th. I think it's actually a pretty good difference, too. So it's not just chump change by any means. So yeah, there's still